Hi, folks. This is Rick Doc Walker, the DOC.
This is John Keim, and you're listening to the Mess Hall with Rally Captain and Tailgate Ted.
What's going on, Rally? Week one is finally here, man. How you doing?
Man, this is almost like, you know how when you're a kid and it's Thanksgiving and you know that Thanksgiving is Thursday and it's Monday and you can't wait because you see all the preparations coming in the house and the sides coming into the house, but you can't wait until doggone 3 more days because there's a game. But other than that, man, I am wonderful. And like a kid in a candy store, I'm looking through the glass, just waiting to put my hand in the candy jar, meaning that NFL Sunday at 4 o'clock. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm actually, when we're recording now, it's Wednesday, the 4th. I'm down here in South Beach right now,
Oh,
enjoying, yeah, I'm
oh,
enjoying some really warm weather. Came down here for the Nat series, playing the Marlins, and kind of one last vacation before busy season starts. I got to be, those of you that are going to be in DC Chinatown Friday morning, I'm recording with ABC 7 at 5 o'clock in the morning at Taffer's Grill
mm,
downtown. Then I got to be at Fox 5 Monday morning, do a little post game stuff. So I'm trying to enjoy the last bit of calm before this NFL just crazy show starts happening for all of us, and try and maybe get a couple more, sun rays in before it gets busy.
this is what we live for, and there's no turning back now, brother. You're in the thick of it.
Yeah, it's exciting. And for those wondering, a story came out that talks about some of the negative with this team. Riley and I aren't going to touch on that. This is week one. We've been waiting to talk about week one and this team and celebrating the fact that the NFL is finally back, that it's not preseason, it's not training
Mm-mm,
camp, it's
mm-mm.
finally for real.
Oh
And
yeah,
come Sunday, how many sleeps in a wake up, man? How many sleeps in a wake up?
we got. So you don't count today, obviously. So you count Thursday, which is one, Friday, which is two, Saturday, and then the wake up. So you got 3 days and a wake up.
So 3 days in a wake up, we got Tampa Bay, 425. And I used to always call it FedEx Field South. It doesn't feel right calling it Northwest Stadium South, considering, we just got that name. But I've
Yeah.
got no doubt the burgundy and gold are going to flood the hell out of that place, take over that pirate ship, and you're putting on one hell of a rally Saturday night. Let some of the people know what's going on for that.
So we all know that it's no secret that the team they aren't doing rallies, and I've always said that if the team does not do a rally, I will defer and I will do a rally. But if at any given time they decide to start the rallies back up, hey, I'm sorry, I will defer and give it back to them because it's technically the team's rally. I'm just trying to keep the torch burning within the fan base. And you would have asked me that when I don't have the address, but the name of the place is Mugs Sports Bar and Grill, and that's in Clearwater, and it's from 5 to 7 on Saturday. And the manager actually called me yesterday and says, "Do you really think people are going to show up?" And I said, "Listen, the only thing I'm going to tell you is two things: make sure you've got plenty of food, and make sure you got plenty of staff because the B&G were coming in hot." And so he laughed at that. And so it's up to us now to prove me right and to prove him wrong because I think that we're going to go over capacity this place, and I look forward to it.
That's awesome. I got the address here. It's 13563 Icott Boulevard, Clearwater, Florida. And those of you wondering, Clearwater is right beside Tampa. It's like if you're going to DC, it's like you're going to Arlington, except a hell of a lot better view right there along the causeway. It's not
Mm,
far. Get your ass out there. There's going to be some raffles, rallies raising money for the Red Cross like he does every year. It's going to go support a great cause. They got an autographed Santana Moss jersey going out there. Do me a favor, represent, because I'm not going to be there. I couldn't pull off 2 weekends in Florida in a row, and I got to do some TV stuff back home to represent back in town. So make sure you're down there in Tampa, you're having a good time, and you take over that stadium because I want to hear burgundy and gold repping it hard down there on that TV.
Oh yeah, and then the thing about it is this: we have had false starts in away game stadiums, so this is going to be no different. I have no doubt in my mind that we can make Tampa Bay have a false start.
Oh yeah, easily. And I think I'm trying to see if I can pull it up. The last time we played Tampa, we opened the season in Tampa was 2004, and we beat the Bucs 16-10. So hopefully history is going to repeat itself. We get to open up on the road, and then we come back to DC to face Daniel Jones and no Saquon Barkley, and dare I say 2-0. But we'll give our predictions at the end of the pod. And we actually have a couple of Washington beat reporters, a couple of voices you're probably going to recognize. I'm curious to see how many of them you do recognize. They're going to give their season-long predictions. But before we jump into it, the team came out with their new depth chart. It's
Yeah.
not unofficial anymore. It's official. Have you had a chance to actually look at it?
You know what, Ted? I have not really. I mean, I've been so busy taking care of SB event stuff to where I really don't have a lot of time with my day job working with the government to with SB events. But one thing that I did get a chance to look at a couple names, and one thing that kind of surprises me. Well, I shouldn't say surprises me. Well, yeah, I'll go with surprises. We knew that Coleman was going to be the starter, but they always say you get no love from the tub. So the fact that he's a starter kind of makes me scratch my head. I mean, we know the kid's got it, but he hasn't played at all. So it was being a rookie, so that kind of made me scratch my head a little bit. And so I'm hoping that obviously they're with him day in and day out to where we only get to see him maybe on the sidelines riding a bicycle or doing some drills or something like that. So uh, they know more than what we do. So I'm just hoping that he does come through and that he can live up to getting that S on his chest being the starter.
Well, this is actually what DQ had to say about his expectations for Coleman this week.
Few minutes. What's your expectation or hope with Brandon this week, both in terms of practice and maybe possibly starting on Sunday?
Yeah, for the practice part first, we're definitely aiming towards playing and getting into that, and so I'll probably have a better instance for him and a couple of the guys all the way through the practice week. But it's sure been good to have him back out there and going through it, for practice last week and into this week as well. So it's definitely good to have him back out. But as far as the game, let's let practices play out some more.
Okay.
So it's not 100% official. And there was a question that JP Finley asked earlier on during preseason. Do you need to see Coleman play in a game before he starts week one? And DQ basically said, and I'm paraphrasing, need versus want. He wants to see him in a game beforehand. And we know that didn't happen because we went through 3 preseason games and Coleman wasn't there. But does he need to see him? That's a different story. And if Coleman can practice and play well, today is basically their Monday. It's their first official real day of practice. They're installing the actual game plan and so on and so forth. So they're waiting to see how he does. And on the official roster, Coleman is the starting left tackle.
Yeah.
Big Luke is the backup. And I'm not going to lie, I was surprised because it's not like this can't change. Right?
Yeah.
Big Luke has been there the entire preseason, and he has had that spot. So you say you don't lose your job to injury, and Coleman got injured. So maybe that's what it was. And before Coleman got hurt, before that first preseason game against, I can't even remember who it was. I think the Jets. He was slated to be starting and playing that game. So maybe they're just giving it back to him following that. But they've got faith in the kid, and to have a starting left tackle basically protecting the blind side of a starting rookie quarterback, that's risky, man. And I trust DQ and more importantly, Adam Peters to want to have that kind of matchup. But that's one surprise for me, at least week one. Another one I saw was Luke McCaffrey is listed over Diami. And that was kind of odd to me. So your starting wide receivers is Terry McLaurin, Luke McCaffrey, and Olamide Zaccheaus. So we heard about Diami and how well he did, and we
Yeah.
saw how well he did. And Diami was out there with the first teams for the most part. But to have Luke, so you've got three rookies with your first team offense starting, I'm kind of shocked about that. What do you think? And you think this was just kind of an Excel mistake, or you think it's legit?
I don't know. And see, I was going to ask you, how much is the name, or is he truly a baller? I mean, I really didn't see that much. But once again, and you'll probably get tired of me saying this. We're not at camp and we don't see 100% of the plays. We just see what they want us to see in the preseason and things of that nature. I mean, do you think that the name is carrying him over, or is he just that much of a dog to where they have to put him in that way? And I truly don't know. So, but I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised, and obviously they see it. So, what do we think about it? I mean, the most I can say is, okay, I like you. I trust Peters. I trust Quinn. Um, so we're gonna have to play it by ear or by sight.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with the name personally. I don't think that they're going to be swayed by his name. And looking at it, he didn't play against the Patriots in that last preseason game. He played in week 1 and he played in week 2. So I'm just going back to his PFF grade in week 2. And let me see here. PFF overall grade, week 2 receiving. Luke McCaffrey got a 76 overall. He was targeted twice. He caught both of those balls for 30 yards. So didn't put up a ton of numbers, but he also wasn't in there a ton of plays. Looks like he took 18 snaps. So in week 1, I mean, they obviously think highly of the kid.
Yeah.
Since they didn't even make him play in that last week. And in week 1, he got a 59.8. He had 3 targets, 2 receptions for 25 yards. So
in other words, he's a dog. He's a dog then.
Yeah.
That's the case.
He is. He is. And I mean, Diami got a 91 in week 1, and that's because of that long pass that Jaden threw to him on that audible where he was buzzing the tower. And in week 2, Diami had an 80.9, right? So Diami was 3 for 3 with 19 yards. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little shocked that that's the way it panned out. It means nothing because it's all about personnel and matchups. How are they going to match up against Todd Bowles and what they're going to do? They're going to try and find something, that is a weakness in the Tampa defense. Looking here, Diami is listed as 6 foot, and Luke is listed at 6'2".
6'2", right?
Maybe a little bit of height. So I don't know, but that was kind of shocking to me, just looking at it first glance on the depth chart was.
I totally agree with you. As I said, at this juncture, Ted, what's on paper does not matter. It's going to come down to who has the blood of steel, if you will. Who's going to be able to do the things that they're asked in those tight situations and make plays. And if you feel that Luke is the guy, then you know me. Hey, you got my nod. Win ball games. And obviously they feel as though these 53, they're the guys to get it done. 3 days in wake up, bro. We're going to see.
Yeah. 3 days in a wake up. And actually, now that you say it, I'm looking at this. We recorded the last show, and we were kind of salty about the whole Martavis Bryant thing, not even making the PS.
Yeah.
Then they go and bring in Noah Brown. So Noah is listed behind Terry on this depth chart. Those of you that don't know who he is, I find it hard to believe if you're a listener of the show. And speaking of which, I want to shout out Claire. She is actually down here on this Nationals trip with me and a bunch of other people from DC. She wanted to make sure I
Nice.
told her rally captain hello. She watches the show on YouTube religiously and was asking me when am I going to go record, knowing that it comes out on Wednesdays and she has her YouTube set up. So for those of you that just listen to it, make sure every once in a while you check out the YouTube. It kind of helps us out, get some of those views up. But shout out to
Yeah.
Claire. But the team brought Noah Brown on, and they didn't have to wait for him because I'm not going to say wait. I was salty that we have the number 2 waiver claim and we didn't put in a single waiver. But Noah Brown is a vested veteran, and he didn't have to actually go through waivers. He could choose to go where he wanted to go, and he chose to come here. He played with DQ before. He's got some familiarity, and I'm happy to see that they added another weapon to this roster that can hopefully help Jaden down the road.
Man, what I like to hear for the first time in a long time is that players want to come here. They want to come here because they understand that this is going to be a no-nonsense organization, finally, and there's an opportunity to put the ball in their hands to allow them to score touchdowns and to make more money. And I think that that's a driving force to be a part of something. You're not just a number, if you will, or a statistic. You're going to be a household name in the DC market. And I look so forward to this because for so long, guys were just here making a paycheck.
Yeah, we were the place to go to if you wanted to get paid. If you wanted to get overpaid, we would often outbid ourselves to get players to come here. And now you got a guy that, granted, he was a Cowboy in the past. So, you know, what's in the past is in the past. It's fine. Forget about it. He's here with us now. And I've got no doubt that he's going to make an impression team. Yeah, I'd say an even better one than Bryant could have done because this guy has been in the league. He was with the Texans last year. He's actually taken snaps since 2016, where Bryant had it. So some of those question marks I had after the last pod, Adam Peters did what he did, and he answered them for me. And I'm good to go. I'm liking this roster for a majority of the position groups. There's still a couple that I'm a little concerned about heading into Tampa Bay. But I want to get your answer first. Which group do you think can potentially a liability heading into Tampa?
You broke up. Say that again.
Which position group do you feel is a potential liability for us heading into Tampa?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Ted. And this is going to go against the grain. Because I haven't seen them in preseason at all, and I know that in years past they were dogs, but this is a what have you done for me lately? And I hadn't seen anything from Jonathan Allen or Deron Payne. And let's face it, last year we put our faith in them, and they kind of sometimes came up short. So, you know, the coach handled them with kid gloves, and they didn't play at all. I mean, I know they practiced, but let's face it, this is under the lights. This is for all the marbles. This isn't, 2 hours and get in the hot tub and go home to your family. This is a game. So I need to be able to see what they can do. And yes, as I said, in the past, they were dogs, and I got it. But we also last year had some gaping holes. So I need to see what those guys are going to do and what the rotation is going to be with those guys. We know Newton is still, harboring his little injury, and I heard that they are going to be having him practice today. But once again, he's not ready. So how do you stop that gashing that happened last year? And I just haven't seen it. And maybe once again, they have a plan. I just haven't seen it yet.
I know they got a plan. And what's that Mike Tyson quote? Like, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth, right?
Yeah.
So they've been preparing for this game, not just this week. These coaches have been waiting for it all off season. And now we'll see what actually comes, but the players actually have to execute. And I was torn. I was torn between the secondary going up
Mm-hmm.
against those tall ass Bucks receivers or offensive line. And specifically the fact that the O line has not practiced again. If Coleman really is going to start at left tackle, the fact that he hasn't actually practiced with these guys and Wiley hasn't practiced with these guys, and you have not had a chance to build up that chemistry, that concerns me going up against Vita Vea and this Bucks defense. And this is actually what DQ had to say about offensive line chemistry.
Do you expect the offensive line, all five guys, to have the communication and cohesion that they need, considering they didn't get all those reps together that you might have wanted during camp?
I do expect that. Yep.
Why? I guess what gives you that?
Because that's what has to be done. like there's not a if it doesn't happen, it's okay. That has to go down. And so even when you're injured, you can go through a lot of the times the walkthroughs and that. And so it allows you to play it mentally, although you can't play it physically. And so, but you do have to have that. And it's really important. And so knowing that not all were together the whole time, it's not what you like, but in terms of the communication, not an excuse at all.
And I get that it's not an excuse, but to me, it sounds like DQ is hoping that it's going to be okay because that's how it's supposed to be. I guess where I'm a little relieved is Cliff Kingsbury's willingness to go with 12 personnel, 13 personnel, like 2 tight ends, 3 tight end sets, keeping an H back in to give Jaden some time. And Jaden's average time to throw was 1.8 seconds in the preseason, right? And I know that's because we weren't showing a lot of plays, opening stuff up down the field, and he's trying to get that ball out. And I don't think that's going to be his average, let's just say through the first half of the season. But he knows that he needs to get rid of that thing quick. And he didn't hold on to it long like we saw a lot of rookies do during the preseason when, when Drake May was here with the Pats and some of the other guys, watching on TV like Caleb Williams for the Bears. I felt he was holding on to the ball a lot longer. And people were bitching about Jaden checking the ball down. But to me, he's going to need to do that until this offensive line gets a chance to build that chemistry, if that's something they're still lacking. But one guy that I am relieved to hear is going to be a commander for at least until we get a new stadium is Sam Cosmi. They actually gave him an extension today. And this is what DQ had to say about that, a contract extension.
You guys obviously just extended Sam Cosmi. First vet you guys have done something like that with here. Why him? Why did you decide he was a guy that you felt you needed to keep?
Yeah, I think it's a cool day for him, for his wife Blair, his daughter Claire, who are here, and so for Adam and his staff to get that done prior to the season. That's a big deal. And this guy's a commander, through and through. He's tough, he plays square, he's strong, and we're really, are fortunate that he'll be an anchor inside, for years to come. It's a big deal.
So he's the only veteran to get a deal longer than 3 years from Adam Peters. And shockingly enough, from the Rivera regime. Because if you were drafted by Rivera, it's like that scarlet letter. You went here long if you were drafted by Ron. But Cosmi, we know, at least will be. And I'm happy to see that for him, his family, and to know that we've got someone solid at that right guard position.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's one of those situations where you pay me now or you pay me more later. So it's good to get him sold up at a great salary, I believe. I think it was $74 million or something like that. So, that's good money, and he is going to play even harder for you because he sees that you've put that faith in him to keep him around. And no one likes to have to wonder. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Have that uncertainty because he was set to be a free agent in March, right? And, Trent Williams just signed his deal last night. He's been holding out, right? And Big Trent's the best left tackle in the game. And Cosmi could have played the entire season. He wasn't holding out, wasn't, bitching and moaning about it. He was just going to work like, those offensive linemen do with, their hard hat and a lunch pail, and it paid off. 4-year, $74 million deal, $45 million guaranteed. And you're happy for those guys that put the work in and that want to be here. And I'm excited to see what he can do. And another thing I'm surprised about, the team isn't doing captains for the season, right? I was a little worried they were going to make Jaden a captain, right? And I was actually hoping that they were going to make Sanders still a captain, because we've been hearing how that rook, all the defense has been stepping up and the vets are actually looking to him for what we should do next. But instead, DQ is doing game by game captains. You think that's a good idea, or you think it's just kind of odd?
I think it's a good idea. And the reason why I say that is because I can remember back in the day, I mean, many, many moons ago, you got rewarded by, if you had a hard hit or if you had a sack or a fumble recovery or whatever, they give these little stickers. And guys would play harder to get those little stickers, even though it was for the team. But it's still football is a team, but it's an individual type of thing. I mean, because you got to be able to hold your own in your position. And so what I like is the fact that, hey, I busted my ass last week and you saw that and you made me a captain this next week. It makes guys want to play harder versus it's the same old guys going out. And even though, I may get recognized a little bit, I'm truly won't get recognized as what I feel that from the team. So I'm very happy about that. It means a lot, because at the end of the day, yes, these guys make millions of dollars, but the fact is, at the end of the day, they're human, and humans still have human emotions, is as little as that is. And so to put that C on your chest for that week, or to be called captain for that week, hey, that gives you a sense of pride, man. It does.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't know what to think about, but hearing you put it the way you're putting it, it's just motivation, right?
Yeah.
And it reminds me of, like, after every Caps game, they give one of the players, like, they have like different trinkets that they'll give them, depending on kind of what's cool that season with like a TV show. And the player of the game would get, like, the defender would get a wooden shield. I think this is when like Vikings was big, that TV show. And the offensive player would get like a hatchet that was actually like a real hatchet where you could definitely do some damage with that thing. I feel like it's kind of like that. It's motivation for the guys, just like you say it. It also kind of reminds me of, that scene in Drumline, right, where Nick Cannon gets challenged by so-and-so, and next thing you know, he loses his spot up on that first line. Like, all right, if you're going to be captain for this team, prove it. Because not to knock, what Dwayne Haskins, but he never should have been named captain, right? He never should have got 7. He never should have been named captain. I feel like they just did it because he was a high draft pick and he was a QB. But now I'm appreciating the outside the box thinking that they're doing with this. And, it's motivation for these guys.
There you go.
Anything we need to kick them in the rear and get them going, let's do.
And let's face it, football a lot of times is a game of inches. And if the one guy has that motivation to gain that extra inch, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I kind of felt bad because during that Pats game, the last preseason game, we all knew that Chris Rodriguez wasn't most likely going to make this roster. They actually made him a captain for the coin toss. Thinking, why are they doing that to the young man? I mean, you're bringing him out there on a coin toss, then he's not getting any snaps going in, and at least he made the practice squad. So, good for him. It's kind of a demotion, a step back, considering how well he did towards the last part of the season. But we'll see how this pans out. And I kind of want to keep numbers on who's the captain throughout the year at that point to kind of see who won it the most. And did their play on the field actually really dictate that?
Good call. Good call. Yeah, that would be something we'll have to take notes of that and figure out who had it the most and who truly stepped up to become that weekly captain.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing who did it and how it goes. But jumping into this week versus the Bucs, we used to always do a NFL power rankings kind of guess. Well, it's week one. We're 0-0. You know, what, we were 4-13 last year. Didn't exactly work out all too well. Where do you think the Commanders are on this list, knowing that we were 4-13 last year?
So 32 teams. Man, I'm gonna say, Ted, probably 26, 27.
Is that your final? You want to phone a friend?
I'm gonna say 26.
26.
Yeah.
I
That's
think you
it?
looked at this earlier, man. I
No,
think it's right on the dot. I was going to give you
no.
plus or minus 5. Right on the
Yeah,
dot,
no.
man. All right,
I
go buy a lot. Oh,
I did not look at it. But I mean, here's the
go get a
thing.
lotto ticket, man.
Here's the thing. You know, obviously we're not 32, right? And 5 spaces or 7 spaces is a good number to drop because they don't really know what we have. Now, we went against the Bucs and I see us going another 7. You know what I mean? That I think that's how they probably look at it. And that's why I said that.
I think it depends on how we win, right? If we barely skate by the Bucks, then yeah, I'm sure we'll shoot up. If we if we barely skate by, we'll probably go up 1 or 2. If we kick their ass, you know, we got a good shot at jumping up a hell of a lot more. But it's saying here the social media feedback I was getting after my glowing love the effort review of the Commanders for my last rankings is that I am a wee bit more upbeat about their chances than even people close to the team might be. And I get it. There are still a lot of boxes that need checking and at a few high priority positions, such as offensive tackle and cornerback. But I think Washington got the biggest position right this offseason with Jaden Daniels, whose scrambling ability can help cover for some of those blocking concerns, though obviously not all. I also think there was a big coaching upgrade. Dan Quinn has a great career mark of making teams better, both as an assistant and head coach. In his first year on staff, the decision to trade Jahan Dotson away caught me off guard, but I still think Daniels and Quinn will inject major life into this team. If Washington can catch the Bucs napping in week 1, ahead of week 2's home opener against the Giants, a 2-0 start is possible. So I'm getting goosebumps. I haven't actually read that entire thing until now.
Wow.
To think we could potentially go 2-0. The Giants are 30th on this list, right? And who knows what's going to happen. They've got no Saquon there. They've got a new RB. We'll see what's going on. But to start the season off at 26 after going 4-13, I'm not surprised. I'd probably give us a couple points higher just because of Jaden. Thinking, you know, Tennessee Titans, we've got a better quarterback than the Titans, right? Looking here, the Titans, looking here at the freaking Vikings. The Vikings don't even have a quarterback, right? I mean, I would put us ahead of the Vikings. They traded Kirk. What's his face got hurt? You know, their first round quarterback. So we got to be better than them, but they gave the Vikings 23rd.
Penix got hurt?
J.J. McCarthy. No, it was J.J. McCarthy. He got hurt. He's out for the year. So Sam Darnold is their starting quarterback, right?
Oh, Penix went to Atlanta. My apologies. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he went to Atlanta, and Kirk's going to be starting there. But to me, to have the Vikings at 23 and us at 26, I think a lot of that is the defense, the secondary. St. Juice, Forbes. Is he going to hold up? How's he going to match up? And heading into this week against Tampa, it's 1A and 1B for me. The offensive line is a big concern, but Cliff Kingsbury kind of calms me down. The secondary, there's nothing that's calming me down right now. I am freaking out about this secondary. I mean, the Bucs, people don't remember, the Bucs kicked the Eagles' ass in the playoffs last year. And yes, it was a home game. Yes, it was in Tampa, but it wasn't like they squeaked by. They beat the freaking Eagles. What the hell was the score? Pulling it up. It was 32-9, right? And did you see that coming? I know I didn't see that coming.
No one did. And if they did, they're lying to you.
Yeah. Or they're from Tampa and they got a Buccaneer tattoo.
Yeah,
Because
exactly. Exactly.
and
Wow.
somehow we're only 3.5 point underdogs in this game.
I'm not mad at that.
I
I'm not.
actually
I'm not mad at that at
sure,
all.
I
I'm not
got
mad
it
at that at
four and
all.
a half points a couple months ago, and this is a little quick tip for anyone coming to Florida. You can't bet on your phone in Florida. There's no FanDuel, there's no DraftKings, nothing. So if you're going to put something in, do it when you're at the airport because once you land here, you got to find a reservation or someplace to go to before you can actually put a bet in.
Well, I think that there is a Hard Rock in Tampa, so I think you may be
There
able to
is.
do it. I think you may be able to do it at the Hard Rock. Maybe I don't know. I've been to it, but I don't know if they have sports gambling inside the Hard Rock in Tampa.
I'm sure they do. I can't see why they wouldn't if they've got because I've been to that Hard Rock. You got craps, you got everything else.
Yeah.
So I was just, this is Florida, man. I mean, anything goes in Florida, but you can't
Well,
sports bet from your phone.
well, they don't want the seniors to waste their social security check from their phone on their jitterbug phone to DraftKings, bro. I mean, come on,
They
man.
don't got iPhones, man. They still got flip phones. This is before those were like the new Razor phones. They still got the old flip phones. My father-in-law would still have a little Nextel beeping phone if he could, if he wasn't forced to get rid of that thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, before y'all jump on that plane and put some money down on this game, make sure you do it back in DC, Maryland, Virginia, because I don't want to start getting text messages from everybody asking me to put your parlays in. Then I'm
Oh
getting
yeah.
taxed on your winnings. So we'll see how it goes.
Hey, speaking of which, so if you had to talk, we're talking about DraftKings here. If you had to go with any time touchdown for the Commanders, who would you select?
I would say, I'd almost say Austin Eckler.
Okay, you got it. That's what I was gonna say as well. Because he's a
I'm thinking
machine.
Eckler. Yeah, he is. And he's going to be more of a receiving threat. So I can kind of see that happening. So I was looking at some of the props actually for the season itself and trying to see if I can pull some of these up. But anytime touchdown, I'm not going to lie. I put a parlay in with Mike Evans getting an
Y-
anytime touchdown.
Yeah, Evans and
I mean,
Eckler.
I had to, right?
Yeah,
I just
I totally
bet with
agree
my
with you.
head, not with my heart. I can
Yeah,
see Evans definitely getting one. But looking at the Commanders, anytime touchdown score props, Mike Evans is plus 110. Jaden Daniels is plus 195, and B Rob is plus 210. So they got Eckler at 220.
oh,
So, I mean, I don't know. Jaden running one in because he's got to run it in. He can't throw it in, or he's got to catch one. I don't think we're
right.
doing a halfback option of Jaden Daniels at the first
Nah,
game. So, but I don't know. I kind of think Eckler is going to be that guy. Eckler, finally healthy, not having any issues. I can see him catching a screen and taking that thing to the house.
I see that as well. Uh, so you say you did a parlay? What did you do? Two
I did
leg,
a
3 leg
parlay.
parlay?
I did a 3 leg parlay with a Mike Evans anytime touchdown, a Terry McLaurin over on his receiving numbers. And I'm trying to remember what that. Oh, it was over on Jaden Daniels rushing yards. So we'll see what happens. Fingers
Yeah.
crossed. I get a chance to actually make some cash because I got to pay back that $2,000 pickleball machine I bought. I'm $1,800 more to go on my winnings,
Ooh.
but yeah, yeah, that's partially why I'm not going to Tampa for the game. I spent it all on that machine, but hey, it was worth it. Getting a little bit better. But there are some season-long props that I actually wanted to get your take on for the team. And
Okay,
I was
shoot.
looking at these. So let me see if I can pull these up. Anytime, let's see here. Brian Robinson over 750 yards for the season is a plus 210. I
I
feel
take
that
that.
yeah, I feel like that's a guarantee. 750 yards for B
I- I'll
Rob?
t I'll take that.
I mean, to me, no brainer. Terry McLaurin over, see here, 925 and a half yards. That's his over for the season.
Well, he's been over 1,000 yards every season he's played, so
Yeah.
I think I would take that as well. Now before we go any further, we aren't telling our listeners to make these bets. This is just a conversation between Ted and myself. So I don't want you guys to say, man, I bet my rent check and Rally Captain owes me. So if you don't make it. So I don't want to hear that. But this is just friendly talk between Ted and I. All right. But I
Yeah,
think
bet with
that,
your head, dude. Don't
yeah,
go too much.
yeah, I think that Terry should be able to do that as well because he finally has someone who has the true acumen to get him the ball, from what I've seen. Now, here's the other thing though. We have other receivers. So
We do now.
that ball's gonna be spread around. So I don't know. See, sometimes that's when you gotta think what Vegas may think. They know something that we don't know. So that's now that I think about it, I mean, yeah, we'll give it to him. Well, here's the thing, and I hate to go back and forth, but before Terry was pretty much all we had, and so what was the saying? Terry's down there somewhere. Well, now we got a more smarter guy to get him the ball and to spread the ball around. You know what I mean? So it makes me think that uh, if Terry's covered on that long pass, maybe Zacchaeus, maybe Brown, you know.
Yeah. So I think Jaden and Kingsbury, they're going to spread this ball around. They're going to peanut butter it across everybody they possibly can. And he's not going to do a Heineke and just say, F it, Terry's down there, close his eyes and throw the ball up in the air. So that 925, I don't want to say worries me. Terry's a pro, and you got 17 games. So I really feel that when push comes to shove, he'll get his number and it's going to work out. But I'm excited for what this offense can do. Luke McCaffrey, Diami, OZ, Zach Ertz. I think he's going to be a major sleeper. No one has seen him at this point. He didn't play during preseason. He's finally healthy right now, so maybe he can actually do something. Now, with that being said, going into Tampa Bay, not gonna lie, it's a tough matchup.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm not too sure how it's going to go. This is actually what DQ had to say about this week's matchup.
For him offensively, when you think about Tampa, there's playmakers, and there's outside at receiver and at running back as well and quarterback. And so that presents the challenge, for the defense, quarterback who can extend plays and receivers with size to go extend plays. So those are, definitely the ones. I've certainly been impressed by the back. This is a true every down back that you can get this many catches, this many runs, and that doesn't happen as much anymore in our league. And so respect for that. Defensively, this is a group that's really known for their blitz package. I think that's one of the things, through the years with Todd that, always been impressed with by watching their teams, the run defense, and then for them, some playmakers, both at safety, linebacker and a defensive line. They've kept a, deep crew, it feels like, for a while, a defensive line and some good ones. Then I think the special teams matchup, everybody's kind of smiling and waiting to see. They've got a good kicker, punter, and then we're all wanting to see on kickoff and kickoff return what that looks like. And, we'll see it all. We can get it all. Some weather, maybe some thunderstorms. So, everything's on the table, and it's a great matchup. These are two tough teams that are going to have to really battle for it. And that's exactly, kind of what you're looking for in your opening game to get rolling. So all that.
Mm-hmm.
So what scares you more? The Tampa Bay receiving core or the fact that our defense hasn't really stepped it up and we haven't had a chance to see Bobby Wagner on the field, John Allen on the field, Duran on the field, and we have seen, St. Juice get burned on a play and Forbes get burned on a play.
So ask that question one more time for me. So I'm on the same
What are you
page
more
with
scared
you.
about? Are you more scared about the Tampa receivers and what they've done? You got Godwin, you got Mike Evans over there. Mike Evans is father time and just catches 1,000-yard seasons forever. And you got Godwin, you got all these other guys over there. Or are you more concerned about the fact that, because you know what you get with those Tampa guys, right?
Yeah.
They're just, Rashad White, they're freaking studs, right? Or are you more concerned about the fact that we haven't had a chance to see our real first team defense on that field, like every single part this entire preseason, training camp, everything else.
Well, it goes back to what I said earlier in a previous segment. I'm worried about our defense. And I know they got something up their sleeve, but I can't go by what I think. I can only go by what I saw. And I'm sure that once those guys are out there, my hope is that they're going to put enough pressure on the offensive line to make not Mariota, oh my goodness, Mayfield, Mayfield, get rid of the ball faster. That's what my hope is, and maybe make a mistake. That's what my hope is. So, and I'm hoping that that defensive line, all those guys can be captains for a week, and that lets you know that they did a great job. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, I'm hoping the same thing. I'm hoping though that. Do you think it is a bonus that this is Joe Witt's first season as a defensive coordinator, right? This is the first time that they're seeing this Commanders coaching staff. They don't have film on these guys. And yes, you can go back to what they did with Dan Quinn in Dallas, but this is a new crop of players. So as a Tampa offense, how do you game plan against something that you have truly never seen before? Because there's going to be wrinkles. It's not going to be the exact same thing. Where we've seen this Tampa Bay team, we've seen their film, it hasn't changed. You can just go back to last year and watch all of that tape. Todd Bowles has been there for 3 years. Their coordinator's been there for how many years? So for me, I know what they're going to do to a degree, right? You know that Mayfield's going to try and chuck it down to Mike Evans. You know they're going to try and get Rashad White gashing us down the middle. But to our benefit, I don't think they know what this defense is going to do because everyone's new, right? Our linebacking core is new. Frankie Louvu's new. Bobby's new. Sanders Still's new. So I think that benefits us to a degree. And the old Commanders film, if they go back to look at it, you're going to see us not blitzing at all. You're not going to even recognize, at least as a fan, this defense from that defense, right? They were doing double fire blitzes during preseason against the freaking Dolphins and in practice and just all this other stuff, which did not exist in Jack Del Rio's playbook. And who the hell was our defensive coordinator last year? I can't even remember his name after Del Rio got canned. But regardless, I guess Rivera just took it over.
Yeah, Rivera took over. And we know that we played a very vanilla defense during preseason, and this is going to be a shocker for the coaches as well as the fans, because we don't know. And truthfully, they have an idea, but they don't truly know until they hit the gridiron. So Witt position was exactly what for Dallas? He wasn't their defensive coordinator last year for Dallas. What was Witt's position?
No, DQ was the defensive coordinator. Joe Witt was
secondary.
I want to say he was secondary coach. I'll tell you in a second.
Yeah, I think he was. I think he was secondary.
Yeah, for the Cowboys, he was there. No, he was actually their pass game coordinator and secondary. Yeah, so he did the same thing for the Falcons, pass game coordinator, secondary. So this is his first time as a defensive coordinator. And I mean, I think Dan Quinn's going to let Witt do what he needs to do. You delegate as a head coach, which is something that he did when he was with the Falcons, and part of it bit him in the ass. That's why I feel that they lost that, game when the Patriots came back and whooped them after they were up by so much. But
26-3, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it was some crazy number
around there.
Yeah. Well, but okay. So here's what we know. We know that, and this, since you want to say what scares me, yes, secondary coach, it's defense, but that's only a group of possibly 4 to 5 guys. You've got to account for 7 more people. And that's a huge responsibility in my eyes, just watching over the back end. Now you've got to watch over the front and the back. So that kind of scares me a little bit. I will say that because I didn't remember exactly what he did, but secondary and then overall, ooh, you know what I mean? It kind of
Yeah.
it makes me wonder. But once again, you hire people who know as much as you do to assist you in this. So, and you collectively put your heads together to make decisions. And so I'm hoping that these decisions are the right decisions. And I'm sure that they are. Otherwise, they wouldn't be getting paid billions of dollars.
Yeah. I mean, we won 4 games last year.
Yeah.
I'm going to say with this coaching staff, we win at least 3 more just because of the coaching staff, not
Okay.
even the players. The fact that 2/3 of this roster is new. And we talked about revisiting our season prediction before preseason and training camp and everything else. We went down the list, and I don't want to go down the list one by one unless you want to, but we went down the list, and you thought we would be 10-7,
I still
and
believe that.
I thought we would be 7-10. So you're still thinking 10-7 going down the
I'm
list.
I- I'm still thinking that, or 8 and 9. You know, I'm that's that's the ballpark. If you give me a curve, I'm gonna say 8 and 9 or 10 and 7. That's what I'm gonna say.
So on the low side, 8-9. On the high side, 10-7.
Yes.
So I like that curve. Before I give mine, we got a couple of the beat reporters in our area. Thank you guys for jumping on, leaving us some voicemails. I'm going to play this clip. We'll see how many voices you guys can recognize, and we'll get their predictions for what the Commanders are going to do this upcoming season.
Hey everyone, it's John Keim from ESPN and the John Keim Report podcast. So I'm looking for the Commanders to go in that 7-win range. And I say 7-win range because, to be honest, even after being around them all summer and all off season, there are still some unknowns about this roster and some areas that you still say they've got to upgrade here. But how much do the intangibles matter? I think there's some issue or some areas where I could see, like, yeah, I could see them winning a couple more. Or you say, okay, 7 wins, that's really good because you still have these issues on the roster. I really like what I see from Jaden Daniels. I think he's going to be a good player for them for a while. And it's not just because the skill set absolutely matters. It's because of what I've heard about him behind the scenes, the work ethic, his quick release on the field, the way he gets along with teammates. They gravitate toward him. So, I think he's a different kind of leader. I think he's a good leader, but not in a grab you by the face mask way. However, guys do like being around him, and I think that matters at that position. So I like what they have there. And listen, if they went 7-10 and Daniels has a good year, that's a big W for this team. Of course, if he has a really good year, they're going to win more than 7 games. But and I like a lot of what they've done on defense. Love Frankie Louvu. Like having Bobby Wagner around. Like the safeties, like Mike Samerstill. Still have questions, though, and this is where the unknowns are. How much better will the corners be with a new coaching staff and a new system? Still hard to answer that because we haven't seen how they're going to put it all together. We've seen them in individual matchups. We've seen them get tested. They don't always pass. However, what's it look like when they scheme, and can they protect the corners? How much will the pressure help? Do they have the defensive ends to apply pressure? But I say that knowing that the pass rush is going to come up. They're going to force that pass rush through the middle, through Payne and Allen, because that's where the talent as pass rushers are. And if Johnny Newton ever can get on the field, I think that will help as well. So those are some of the unknowns, and that's where they're going to be better on defense. But how much better? Is it enough? I think they're going to run the ball better. Will it be consistently enough? Is the O-line going to be much better? How much will the offensive scheme help the offensive line? Because I think it will. And the play calling as well. But first year of a new system, first year with an offense, with a rookie quarterback, with a lot of new parts on that offense, it doesn't come, it's hard to see it coming together right away. That's why I hedge my bet at the 7-win range, but you see a lot of intangibles with this team that can bump them up. That's going to put them in, if they can be competitive in every game, you're going to have a chance to pull off a few games that you shouldn't have won. I do think the arrow is pointing up here. And like I said, if they win 7 or 8 games, if Daniels plays well, I think you're going to go into the offseason feeling pretty damn good. And I think that's what, to me, my ultimate prediction is you'll go into the offseason feeling pretty good about the direction of this franchise. So there you go. If they win more than that, have at it, folks. That's what you're going to want to see. You're going to want all these predictions to be on the more cautious side than the overly optimistic side, and maybe they'll do or surpass the expectations, and you guys can have a really good season. Talk to you later, folks.
Hey, this is John Gonzalez with ABC 7 News. So excited for Washington Commanders football to be back. I think it's going to be an exciting year, and I can't wait to see the boys in burgundy and gold in Landover. I think Jaden Daniels is going to have a heck of a year. He's going to be one of the rookie sensations this season, and I think the Commanders will finish 9-8, and I think there might be a wild card spot for them in the future. We'll see.
Really appreciate the guys for leaving the voicemails. It's a busy week, and the fact that they took the time to do that for us, I owe you guys. Riley and I definitely owe you.
We appreciate it.
Stop by the first tailgate for the Giants game. I don't know what I'm making yet, but I got something with your name on it. So thank you, boys, for doing that. And I'm thinking, like John, 7-10 is our low mark. Just like I said earlier, I think this coaching staff gets us 3 more wins. We had 4 last year. This staff alone gets us at least 3 more. So 7-10. I'm thinking on the high side, 9-8. And I'm going back and looking at it. I originally had us losing to the Bears. I think we can beat the Bears, right? I know they kicked our ass last year, FedEx, and damn, it was depressing. But I think we can get that dub. And now that they officially named Russell Wilson the starter for Pittsburgh, I had us losing that game. I'm not scared of Russell. We kicked his ass in Denver last year. One of the only 4 wins we actually got. They're coming to Northwest Stadium this year. It's weird. We get that dub. So I'm thinking 9-8 on the high side, 7-10 on the low side. But let's just say it's your low side. Your low side was 8-9.
Mm-hmm.
Your high side was 10-7. What is a successful season for Rally Captain? Take the record out of it. What's a successful season for you?
To see improvement, to see a different type of football than I've seen in the past, let's just say 10 years. That's going to be an improvement for me. I want to see body language. We talked about that last year. I saw a lot of bad body language. I want to see good body language, even if you're losing, because that shows me that coaching is wearing off on you. Because we all know you can lose, but how did you lose, which makes the difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because last year everyone knew Rivera was leaving. Everyone knew his ass was getting fired, right? So the players, I almost don't want to hold it against them with their body language last year because they take on the traits of their coach. And we all know what Ron did. He just sat there with his arms folded on the sideline, never showed a single bit of emotion.
No,
and that couldn't be further from Dan Quinn and the staff. For me, I want to see steps that we're making moves in the right direction, right? And I'm fine if we win 5 games, if we win 6 games. It's how we win those games and how we lose those games that matter to me. Are we getting our ass kicked like we did against the Bears back at home and just getting embarrassed? Or are we playing tough games and losing in the end because, our field goal kicker isn't really the best? And the guy that we had just had all the charges dropped and is available out there. And, not even going to touch that subject. But
another time.
Or are we losing because Emmanuel Forbes didn't really live up to the hype of the old regime, and we're kind of still stuck with that thing, right? And we haven't had a chance to actually move on yet, and Peters was trying to evaluate. So, are we showing that we're making moves? Because to me, I wanted to see Howell no matter what. I needed to know, is he the QB of the future? And we found out He wasn't, right? I don't want to see Brisket come in. Brisket's not the long-term answer. To me, there are still questions on this roster that need to be answered for Adam Peters and Dan Quinn long-term. Whether it is, what's happening in the secondary with St. Juice or with Forbes or with this offensive line with Wiley, because yes, 2/3 of this roster is new, but the other 1/3, they couldn't realistically just trade everybody, get rid of everybody. You've got contracts, you've got ramifications, and at a certain point, it'd just be stupid to do. So to finally have a plan, is Brandon Coleman our real left tackle? Or do we need to go into it next offseason? So I need to see progress, and I need to see some of these truths, maybe some light being shined on top of it that we're just trying to uncover. But
agreed.
One thing I am ready is I'm ready to get this thing started, man, because it's been a lot of, all right, here we go. What's going on? A lot of people, depending on what website you read or what podcast you listen to, the guys are going to do well. They're going to kick ass. They're going to make the playoffs. I mean, we just had John Gonzalez and John Keim, complete opposite spectrums, right? One guy saying playoffs, other guy saying, we're 7 wins. So everyone's up in the air about these guys. But all I know is 3 sleeps and a wake up. We finally got some football, man.
That's right. And I can't wait. And once again, I hear that music playing in the background, which lets me know that we are one step closer. And you'll see me down there. Make sure you guys, if you come in and you stop at Muggs from 5 to 7, Muggs Sports Bar and Grill from 5 to 7 on Saturday, and support the rally, because once again, we're just trying to keep this torch lit until the team takes it over, because they will see the value in these rallies one day. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the DMV Mess Hall. And I thank you guys for riding with us. Let's go 1-0 against Tampa. Tailgate Ted.
Sure. I forgot to ask. We winning this week? What's your pick?
I'm going with the dub.
All right.
And
I'm going to leave mine to myself. Let's put it that way.
No, give it to us. You here for a reason.
I'm taking Tampa. I don't want to end the pod on that. I feel bad for that. We didn't give our predictions. That's my bad. That's my big. But hopefully you are right and you get that victory steak, and hopefully I am wrong and I'm eating crow come Monday morning.
Well, here's the bad thing about that victory steak. A lot of the places close early, so I'll have to wait and get it on Monday. But nevertheless, it will be a victory steak. I'm going to have it. Mark my words. Rally Captain, Tailgate Ted, you rep it hard or you don't rep it at all. We're out.